Hello, welcome to our My Stories live today. I'm Monk John, and today we're going to talk about forgiveness. And this has become very important questions that I received lately because a lot of people ask me, they can't just get like problems that they have with their friends, with their family members out of their mind. And they keep thinking about it over and over and over again. So forgiveness is an ability that we should practice in our life so that we live a happier life. Because why do we have to keep and hold those anger in the mind? Why do we have to actually stay with something that keep hurting our mind for many years? Sometimes for some people that could be many years. Some people, this could even be 10 years that they didn't talk to each other. They didn't talk to their families, they didn't talk to their relatives, they didn't talk to some friends. They keep holding that feeling. So we may have questions. If we hold those angers in the mind, this is going to be good to ourselves because we don't have to face people that we didn't like. So facing them and actually confronting someone who you didn't like, is it better than just keep the anger in the mind and stay away from the problems? We're going to discuss about that. So if you just arrived, you can tell me where you're from. You can tell me your name, your country, and also if you can hear my voice properly, clearly, you can also type +1, okay, so that our staff know if the audio is fine, it's properly configured. We're going to wait a little bit more for people to arrive, and once there are a little bit more people, we will continue with the topic. Why forgiveness is the best revenge. Okay, I'm going to check if anyone arrived already. You can just say hi because it would be nice to talk to you and also listen to your responses and your feedback as well. Okay. All right, so we have Owen. Again, I can see you almost every week. Owen from Congo. And if anyone just arrived, you can also share with me as well. All right. So the topic today, we have something about forgiveness. Why forgiveness? Forgiveness is an ability that we should develop in the mind. Well, we can't please anyone, and we can't live in the world that everyone will please us either. It means that in our day-to-day life, we're going to face some degrees of conflicts with people around us. It doesn't necessarily have to be people from far away. It could be someone in our family members, someone in our company, our schools, our workplace. They might say something, they might do something that we do not agree with. And this usually leads to some degree of frustration in the mind. And usually we feel bad about it, we feel irritated. Then, this is the decisions that people usually take. One decision, they just confront the person and tell the person that, well, you did this to me and I didn't like that, I could not accept that, and try to sort out their feelings together. And the second, they keep that feeling in the mind because they don't want to confront the problem. They don't want to confront people and face someone they didn't like, right? Do we have bravery to confront people, to face people that maybe we just recently have conflicts with? Well, this depends, right? Because sometimes if the conflicts are not very big deal, we might decide just to keep it in the mind. And we thought this is going to be fine, but is it really okay if we keep collecting many degrees of conflicts or problems that we face in different places with different people at different times. It's going to be fine. Are the problems going to go away? Well, you can share with me as well about the conflicts or the problems that you just faced recently and you can't just get it out from the mind. Maybe within this month or last month in August, okay? If you have any experiences about, like situations that you face, about people that you had conflict with, and also you can't just take that out from the mind. Well, we're going to talk about that. So, I got one quote from Gandhi, okay? Mahatma Gandhi. He said that forgiveness is just for the strong, it's not for the weak, because the weak do not know how to forgive. The weak will usually keep all the problems, the conflicts, the angers, frustrations in the mind. Isn't it usually something that we know? But when some problem happen to us, why are we so scared of facing the truth and facing those consequences? Okay, so the weak can never forgive, and forgiveness is just the attribute of the strong. So, if we can forgive, it means that we are ready and we are stronger and we are able to face people that we didn't like, situations that we feel uncomfortable with. Why? Because we live in a world full of problems. Okay? No one in the world has ever lived in the world without facing any single problem at all. That is not possible. So as human beings, we always have to deal with problems many times in our life ever since we were born. This is going to be more complicated, especially when you were getting older, when you enter your school, universities. At that time, maybe you have high degree of anger, and maybe you want to control, you want to react, you want to change things immediately. But when things are not going the way you want it, especially because of others, because of some other human beings, we usually feel a little frustrated. And this conflict is very strange. It usually do not happen with places. You're not going to get angry with a place and you can't forgive the place. You do not usually get angry with animals and you can't forgive that animal either. You usually have conflicts with only human beings, mainly human beings. Well, sometimes with some animals, but usually human beings. Not the sky, not the world, not mountains, not trees, not places, just human beings. So this is very strange, right? And once we face the problems, and we have two choices, as I mentioned earlier, we just keep it in the mind because we don't want to confront. Maybe we're not ready and our mind is still weak, as Gandhi said that forgiveness is just the attribute of the strong and not for the weak. But once we keep that in the mind, it's like a volcano that's about to erupt. So usually the only option that you have in the mind is just to let it go, and that is called forgiveness. Okay? So if you just arrived, you can share with me your name, your country. Okay, we have Owen from Congo, we have Margaret and Isabel from Singapore. I think I've seen you several times, and Armand from Benin Republic. Okay, and I think his name is Chon, he's from Cambodia, and Line, I'm not sure where you're from. And we got one message from Owen that he can get upset about people around him very fast, but try to hide it inside and need some time to calm down and digest and throw it away. So, forgiveness is an ability to let frustrations, let the higher degree of conflicts go from the mind. If we are able to do that in a very short time, we can forgive very easily. Some people, it takes more time for them to forgive. Some of them will choose to hold this for weeks, for months, for years. They said that our mind is more sensitive to negativity more than positivity. I can give you one example. Suppose we look at a glass of water, okay? And this water is very hot. If we touch something very hot, definitely it is going to burn your hand, right? And you're not going to touch it directly again, because you know, your body knows that this thing is very, very, very hot. But this is a natural response with our body, but our mind doesn't work the same way. If we know that some thoughts hurt our feeling, we know that every time we think about it, we feel hurt. But why do we keep thinking about that thought again and again and again? It seems that we are more sensitive to negativity more than positivity. Something good, maybe people talk about good things about you. You will smile, right? If they say to you, you are clever, you are so smart, then you definitely will smile, you definitely feel good. But you can't remember that for long, maybe for some days, for some weeks, and you forget, completely forget. But if someone says something bad about you, maybe they gossip about you, maybe they say something behind your back, or maybe they criticize your habits, your performance. Now you feel frustrated, you get angry. And you seem to be thinking about this not only once, even though you try to forget, but you keep thinking about it for weeks, for months, sometimes for years, sometimes forever. You keep holding everything in the mind. All right. This can be developed to a higher degree when maybe you just have a fight with your friends, and all you could think about was maybe to change or to take revenge. Have you ever been in a fight that after that, maybe after months, you keep thinking about what to do with the person, or if you wouldn't do it yourself, you keep looking forward to seeing that person suffer. So even though you're not going to take revenge at all, but this is the action that you seek revenge. Maybe someone will do the revenge for you. Maybe something is going to happen to that person, and that person will know eventually that served you right. You did something bad to me, so this is what you're going to get. If you develop that feeling, I will let you know that you are living in your own world, the world full of anger. And this is something that we discussed last week about self-deception. Every time you can't forgive someone, you're going to live in the world that you find many beautiful reasons to yourself why you should not forgive that person. Okay? It means that deep down inside, you know you need to forgive that person. You know that keeping the anger with yourself is not good for you at all. It's good. It keeps hurting your feeling. And you should just let it go, but you cannot. And since you cannot, you need to find many beautiful reasons why you should get angry, why you should not forgive, and even why you need to take revenge with that person. The world full of delusions, this is going to keep your mind very clouded, okay? It's like you live in a box, and once you live in the box, you're going to inflate other people's faults, and you're going to think about the reasons why you shouldn't forgive, and also start blaming others. And when anyone will say to you, hey, I think you should forgive the person, I think you should just forgive and forget, you're going to get angry at those people as well, because they are not on your side, right? So getting angry, keeping all the frustrations with yourself, and you cannot forgive and you cannot let go, it's going to keep hurting yourself, and you're going to lose friends. You're going to see the world differently. You're going to get angry and annoyed with people that did nothing to you. They're supposed to, they just intended to comfort you. They just intended to help you. But since they don't agree with your anger, with how you choose to keep anger with yourself, you feel frustrated about them as well. And this is what we call self-deception. We talked about this last week, right? And once we have this self-deception, if the conflict was so big and someone pisses off strongly, extremely, we might want to seek for revenge, either by seeing that person suffer, knowing that person suffer, and you're going to assume the role of antagonist. Maybe before you were protagonist, but once you cannot forgive, all you could think about in your mind is to see other people suffer. And if you know that the person that you get angry with, you can't forgive, is being happy at the moment, is it being happy with the persons as well, even though that might not be the same case, the same circumstances as the conflict happened, but you feel unhappy immediately. Every time you know that the person you have a beef with or have an issue with were very happy, you feel very sad, you suffer. So this is very funny, because every time we learn that someone's happy, we should be happy as well. But why, when we cannot forgive people and we know that they're happy, we feel sad about it, right? This is how the mind played some trick on us, and we didn't know that. It means that we have a lot of conflicts and we cannot forgive many people. We're not going to be happy at all listening to people talking about how beautiful their life is. We're going to condemn them. We're going to, we want them to suffer. We want them to have their life in misery. Okay? So this is how keeping the conflicts, keeping anger in the mind will hurt us, and why we should forgive. Otherwise, you're going to deceive yourself. You're going to fool yourself that the person that you have beef or issue with is a bad person. It's going to be always bad, even though maybe that conflict was just a mistake that the person made. This is not a big deal at all compared to how good he's been to many other people around him. But we can't just get the fact that that person hurt me. So once the person hurt me, he's going to be a bad guy, and I'm suffer because he hurt me. I'm the one that should be sympathized, not him. Okay, and once the bad guys get happy, serve you right, you should not get that, and you should suffer, something like that. That is the feeling when we have, once we have to deal with anger for many days and we can't just get it out. Think about your life if there are many conflicts happening and you can't forgive so many people, how miserable your life will become. Okay, so you just arrived. You can also share with people about the video, so that I have a chance to take a look at these videos as well. Maybe for some people, they've been having the problems with them for many years. They can't forgive many people for many years. Some of them didn't talk to each other for years, for 10 years. And could you imagine how many times that person hurt themselves? That is going to be for every time the person heard about the name, the story of the person that he or she has the conflict with. Every time they hear the name, they might feel sad, right? And that is not good at all. And when it comes to taking revenge, revenge is not going to result in something positive at all. It's going to make things worse. Okay, so if you just arrived, again, you can share with me where you're from. We have Paul, we have Domingo from Spain, and we have Sabina, and we have Georgie. Okay, and Georgie also give some comments if the intention is to revenge, but I try to forgive, but this forgiveness makes no sense because my intention was not to forgive, but to revenge. Yes, that's true. We're going to talk about this case as well. If I want to revenge, I better revenge, and by revenge intention is different. Okay, well, Georgie talks about something very interesting. You forgive, but your mind wanted to take revenge. So that is a little conflict that we have in the mind. Sometimes we were forced to forgive, and maybe we didn't actually intend to forgive at all. So we need to talk about that. All right. So let's come back to taking revenge. When something wrong happened between two people, we might have a feeling like we want to bomb a person. And when we bomb a person, that person gets hurt. When that person gets hurt, that person wants to bomb us. And when he or she bombs us, we got hurt as well, right? So when we get hurt, we're going to bomb the person back. And this is going to be a loop, an endless loop of taking revenge. And from a research, it says that usually this revenge is going to get stronger, stronger, and stronger. You know, my master shared with me once a story. Before he became a monk, he usually practiced martial art. I think many of you have a questions in the mind. So, can I do Kung Fu, right? Well, unfortunately, I cannot do any Kung Fu. So anything that we talk about martial art happened before usually we become a monk. And my master case is the same. Before he became a monk, he practiced many martial arts. So good that the master didn't have anything to teach him anymore. So one day the master summoned him and talked to him. Today, I'm going to give you my last lesson, so you listen well. Yes, master, what do you need to tell me today? Well, I'm going to tell you that whenever you face problems, whenever you were in a fight with someone, run away. And my master was shocked. What? You've been teaching me martial arts for years, and I practiced so hard that I mastered everything. But now you tell me that when a fight happens, I should run away. It's not fair. Can you explain what you think? And his master told him that, you are so good that I know that you're going to beat anyone with your fists. You're going to beat anyone with your kick. Your Thai boxing, Muay Thai skill is excellent, second to none. But every time you beat someone and that person cannot forgive you for beating him, that person is going to bring some peers, some components to fight you. And I know, because you're so good, having 2 or 3 opponents, you can still beat them all, no problem. But again, if the whole gang could not fight you, could not beat you, they could come back, maybe bigger group. 10 people, and because you're so good, even 10 people cannot beat you down. They're going to come back with larger group. And now they are not going to come back with only lethal weapons, with their fists. They're going to come back with sword, with knife, or with gun. And that is when you cannot keep your life anymore. Because I love you. That's why I share this with you, so that you can keep your life. So listen to me well. Every time you have a fight, no matter it is about right or wrong or any kind of justice, just run away. Many people ask me the same questions. You are a monk. If someone actually punched you on your face, what will you do? We just forgive that person. My answer is I would try to run away. If I got punched once, it means that something is wrong already, so I'm going to run. It doesn't mean that I'm a coward, but I can't just let go of the anger. Of course, if anyone punched my face, I'm going to get angry, even though I become a monk for 10 years. It doesn't mean that I can get rid of anger for good. So don't do that, okay? I'm going to be pissed. But I decide not to hold that in the mind. I decide just to let it go, and I decide to forgive, even though they might do something bad for me. Because again, if I will seek revenge, then the person also will seek revenge as well if they have a chance, and that is going to be another round, another round, another round. From a research, usually each round the revenge is going to be stronger, which means life eventually. People don't like to get embarrassed, and when they get embarrassed, they want to do something to fight back, to win. This is just what they wanted and nothing more. They don't actually care if they hurt themselves, going to hurt others. So that embarrassment, they only need to win. And this is sometimes our mind is controlled by emotions, emotional feelings, which in this case, anger, more than reasons. We don't actually think clearly anymore because our mind is controlled totally by anger. So the best way, they said that when people get older, the ability to forgive and let go is more. When you were young, maybe during your university years, when you were high school, you can't just let go very easily. Why? Because at that time, the emotional feelings are usually stronger. And because you were inexperienced, you didn't think anything properly. You didn't actually have enough exposure to understand the world as well. But when people get older, they understand better the world, the nature of the world, that the world is like this. Everything is impermanent and it keeps changing and you can't control everything. And when you cannot control the weather, you cannot control the situation, the economics, the place, you cannot even control people's words. Why do you actually have to take it so seriously? Because this is something that they say. They should be responsible for what they say. But you have to be responsible for what they say. For what, right? We can't accept this nature. And once we cannot accept, we can't let go from the mind. And once we cannot let go from the mind, we got hurt. And once we got hurt, if our mind is clouded, we will have a feeling that the person who did this to us should get hurt as well. And this is the cause of revenge. That's not good at all. So eventually, when we get older, we understand the nature of the world, that in our life, we gain something, we lose something. Sometimes we gain, sometimes we lose. Sometimes we became very famous. Sometimes we became nobody. No one cares about us. Sometimes we were pleased, sometimes we were annoyed. And sometimes someone praises us, sometimes they gossip about us. So we're going to live in the world that nothing is under our control. Things are changing. We can't control anything but our own mind, which we never actually learn to control it. And once we cannot control anything, words of people, behavior of people that annoy us, we just have to learn to understand. These are the things that we cannot control, and we let it go from the mind. Usually people learn this when they get older, when they have been fighting all their life and they get tired already, and they feel like, oh, my life, I've been accumulating all that anger, I've been hurting myself so for many years. And you already forgotten about how happy you were when you were young. When you can just enjoy everything, even someone says something bad about you when you were young, you're just laughing because you didn't understand. And maybe because you didn't take it seriously as well, right? Like when someone says something about your body, like, yeah, you look chubbier. Maybe when you were young, you didn't understand. You just laugh. Yeah, I'm chubbier, and so what? But when you get older, and someone said exactly the same thing, we can't just take it anymore because we care so much. How to fight with the nature of the world, how to overcome and control everything in our life. This is not good because eventually our mind will be very tired. And since the mind has been very, very tired, we're going to be unhappy. And the fact that unhappiness is just the feelings in the mind. And this is because we started to look at the world different ways. We can't just enjoy the world the way we enjoyed before because we've been keeping the mind clouded. It's like we wear glasses, and the glasses are unclear and unclean. And once we look at the world through unclean and unclear and colored glasses, we're not going to look at the world accurately according to its true nature. As a result, especially if your glasses is filled and full of anger, you're going to live and look at the world full of anger. And once you look at people, once you look at them happy or smiling, you're going to feel bad because you've been doing that and it has become a habit of yours. So people who cannot forgive easily, people who are always holding the bad feelings in their mind, they tend to look at the world the other way around, especially when it comes to happiness. When other people are happy, they feel unhappy. Especially people that hurt them feel unhappy. People that hurt them feel happy. They want them suffered. Wow. So the original state of the mind is supposed to be as clear as this glass of water is. And this picture has been a picture I've been using many times over because this is how our own mind is supposed to be. Okay? Don't you agree with this? I'm going to check the comments from the live. If you have any comments, you can also share with me. All right? We have as well. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, Mir Dara. And also we have Eric. Seems to be some Asian Asian names. Okay, and from Joanne, forgiveness is always liberating. Thanks, Joanne. Well, our mind is supposed to be a clear glass of water, but every time we have to deal with frustrations, with conflicts, with problems, we have to deal with people. Our lives usually up and down, and if something is going against our comfort and we lose the peace of the mind, we feel frustrated, and that is how we drop some ink in the water. And once the water got ink, a lot of contamination the water is not clear anymore. And when the water is not clear anymore, we're not going to look at the world accurately with fresh eyes. Everything in the water, when the water is clear, you can see it. But when the water is not clear, you can't see anything in the water. And that is how when your mind is full of anger, you can't actually understand your true feeling. And everything is about, like feeling frustrated. When you see the person who hurt you, feel happy, you feel unhappy. You don't actually have any more an ability to rejoice in that person's happiness. And we have to change the quality of our mind. It means that forgiveness is about loving ourselves, because when we release, we are cleaning the mind. And once the mind is clean, the water becomes very clear. And once the water is clear, you see everything clearly. And when you see everything clearly and you understand your feelings, you know this is the nature of the world. You are able to accept and you can let go. You cannot let go because you can't accept. You cannot accept because your mind do not understand. You do not understand because your mind is not clear. When your mind is unclear, you cannot understand, right? Because you look through the world with clouded mind, with dirty or colored glasses. How do you able to understand if your vision is very blurry? And because you cannot understand, you cannot accept, right? You will always have questions. Why me? Why me? Why me? Why don't you do that to someone else? Or why it has to be me who suffered? And once you cannot accept, you can't let go. And once you keep every negative feeling in the mind, you are hurt. And once you got hurt, you want other people to get hurt as well. And that is why we want to take revenge. Because we are hurting ourselves and we don't know what to do. It feels very painful. So why don't others feel the pain as well? That is the cause of taking revenge. I'm going to explain, okay, because there are a few ways to forgive in different degrees. So sometimes people can forgive. Okay, we talk about benefits of forgiving. We know that if we can forgive, we love ourselves, and also we don't hurt ourselves anymore. But sometimes, I think this is also similar to the questions of Georgie, that sometimes he forgave, but he didn't actually intend it to forgive. So we forgive because it's like if the person who hurts us get punished, then you can forgive. And we can also see this in many cases in police stations, in the court. So people fought in the court just to get their opponent, their enemy, the person that hurts them, get punished. And once they see that, they say, okay, serve you right, now I can forgive. Well, this eventually can be forgiveness, but this is not the best of all. The second level is because I can forgive because this is good thing. My parents, my community, my society taught me, my religion said that forgiveness is good, so I should forgive. This is something that is better than the first case, obviously, because you don't actually hold your anger at all. But you were actually not forgiving with the purest intention. You were a little bit forced to. You didn't actually forgive wholeheartedly. So it is like once you forgive this way, you might develop fear Maybe you were afraid of the person. You will want to avoid. You would not want to confront the person anymore. So you still cannot, even though you stop thinking about the person many times over, but maybe when you face the person face to face, you still feel afraid. Or maybe you got hurt and you might be afraid that the person is going to hurt you back. So this level is not good, okay? Not the best yet. The second level is, okay, I forgive, so everything is over. So I don't actually have to deal with this anymore. Well, this is better. I mean, if sometimes you've been dealing with the anger, your pain for years, for months, or for days, and eventually you know that holding the pain in your heart is not good. You decided to forgive, so everything is over. People can talk to each other. The world lives in peace. This is even better because eventually you understand about your consequences. You understand that if you don't forgive, you get hurt. If at least you can forgive in this level, I would say this is very good already, because this is usually the best level that normal people could achieve. Because I got hurt, because my families, everyone got hurt, we are not happy, so I should forgive, so things are over. If you can forgive with this particular reason, well, I cheer for you. You are doing the right thing. You are not hurting yourself. Okay, but there is one more level that I'd like to talk to you today. The highest level. It is the level that we can forgive without any condition. It's like when you got hurt, instead of getting angry, you can forgive just almost immediately, just right away. You don't actually have any anger, or you don't feel frustrated at all. This is very hard to achieve. It means that you treasure your inner peace more than anything else, so you don't actually have any condition to love anyone at all. Even they are your enemies, you don't actually see them as your enemies. You understand that maybe they were forced to do what they're doing because of delusions, because of ignorance, because they were forced to, but deep down inside themselves, they are human beings. Deeper inside themselves, they are innocent. But because of their upbringing, because of the environment, because of their educations, or any other circumstances, they have to do what they didn't want to do, or maybe what they do not supposed to do. Because this understanding is usually higher than the level of normal human being. So if you can achieve that, your life is going to be 100% happy, period. Well, the other level, it depends. Maybe on the third level, your life could be 75%, because maybe you feel a little bit angry when some people upset you. You're going to hold that for 2 days or maybe 1 day, and you feel that, oh, I should not do this to myself because this is going to make me feel frustrated, make me feel sad. You decided to forgive and you become happier. You see, the amount of time that you are always happy is going to be shrink. It's going to be lessened. So it's not 100%, maybe 75%, 80%, depends on how quick you can forgive. But if you forgive because you were forced to, because you might not agree with, or you want to see the person suffer first, the pain that is in the mind is going to hurt you. It's going to make you develop a habit of being used to negativity. You know, the longer you stay with the pain, that is how your mind is used to. Learning to used to staying more longer with negativity more than positivity. Okay, I would like to mention one thing. You know, we human beings, of course, we composed of body and mind. It's like hardware and software, right? The software controls the hardware for computer. The mind controls the body. But when we talk about computer software, we also talk about viruses that are software, that are malicious, that do not have any good intention of doing any good for your machine. So we also have viruses in our mind as well. And these viruses belong to three groups: craving, anger, and delusions. It means that even though your mind is pure, like a glass of water, if you can't just get rid of these viruses in the mind, you'll be challenged by this software, this malicious software anyway. You'll always be challenged unless you can get rid of the viruses from the mind. And in Buddhism, we call these viruses kilesas or defilements. Okay? So you're going to be challenged anyway. Anytime you were punched on your face, and if you still have viruses in the mind, there might be some little feeling that, again, as I said to you, because I'm just an ordinary monk that is still working on myself. I'm not an enlightened one, so I hope you don't feel disappointed. When someone did something bad for me, something hurtful, and I got hurt, I also have that challenge, the moment that I have to make a choice to myself whether I will forgive or whether I will keep the anger in the mind. Okay, these choices usually you have to take because you have viruses in the mind, and the ability to know that you have to take the choice and you don't go automatically to the negative choice or keeping the anger, keeping the pain in the mind is called mindfulness. If you are mindful, you know that you have to take a clever choice. You know that the choice that you will take is going to return benefits and not harmful to your decisions, to your future. Okay? So that is why we should forgive, and that is why forgiveness is about giving yourself a gift. Forgiveness is about setting a prisoner free, and that prisoner is yourself. When you got locked, when you were imprisoned by your own anger, well, all you could only think about is something negative. You're not going to be able to enjoy the world 100%. If you have a lot of accumulated anger or pain, the amount of percentage you can enjoy the world is going to be less and less and less. If you are not able to enjoy the world, how is your life different than being a prisoner, right? Because if you were in prison, the only thing that you needed was freedom. But even though you live in the big wide world and you're supposed to have this freedom, but you don't, because you are still being controlled by anger, by the viruses of the mind. It means that who we thought that were our enemies were not our enemies, but something that is within us. We didn't see, we didn't know. Some people didn't even know that there are viruses called anger that lived in our mind, is our true enemy. So, something that you don't actually see, something that lives in your mind, has imprisoned you for many years. Would it be nice if we can forgive so we were liberated from such prison? And once we can stop feeling angry, we can feel the freedom. We know that there is something that forced you, that made you feel unhappy, and now that thing is gone. So forgiveness is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself, and you should give to yourself. All right. If you have any questions, you can ask. There's a question from Domingo. How to help ourselves to forgive when we have been deeply hurt, not due to attachment or love, but because the other people deliberately try to hurt us at work, family. Thanks. Well, the thing is that sometimes you were in an environment that is full of, negative people and people that will keep hurting you. So all you could do is just to beat them with your kindness. You can't do anything else. People that they were trying to do something negative to you, do they want to feel you sad or feel you happy? You have to answer yourself this question first. People who were trying to dominate you, all they want to see in their eyes is the picture of you suffer, right? So if you feel suffer, then they know that they have the power. They would be able to dominate you, and your life is in their hands. It's going to be very fun, and that is why people keep bullying each other. So what if they try to dominate you and you don't feel sad? You just act normally. You don't actually have to smile, and that is going to add fuel into the fire. So you just act normally, as if nothing happened, as if you can live your life, as if the actions of that person that they've been thinking the whole night about hurting you is in vain. If you can do that, the person try to hurt you, you don't fight back, instead of fighting back, hey, I'm hurting you back, but you act normally. That person hurts you, you don't feel sad. It's not fun, right? And eventually the person who keeps doing that is going to feel he or she is a stupid one. And no one wants to be a fool. No one wants to be stupid. Eventually the urge or the will to hurt you is going to be less and less and less. I'm not saying that this is easy. This is very, very difficult, I would say. So that's why meditation may help you. People hurts you. Wow, that time you have to stay very centered. You have to stay grounded. You have to stay patient. Eventually, if you do not react, there's one saying that if you manage to escape a brief moment of anger, you're going to live 1,000 days full of joy. If you are able to escape just a minute or maybe even less of anger, and you don't actually respond in a negative way, you are going to live in a 1,000 days of joy. There might be many times in your life that you were very glad you didn't do any negative actions, right? It's like you were able to control your guts. So all right, so I hope this answers your questions, Domingo. Forgiveness is not to change our past, but it is about changing our future. Of course, once we forgive anyone, it doesn't change the fact that we got hurt. It doesn't change the fact that someone did something bad to us. But it is about we choose to live our life with joy, and that is our decisions. So whether or not our life is going to be happy, whether or not our life is going to be joyful, does not depend on how other people get angry at us or how they hurt us. So this is your decision, and you are totally 100%. You are in control of your own life. And this is what I like you to think about. Again, if you manage to escape just a brief moment of anger, You're going to live your future full of happiness and joy. That is the future. That is what you should care about. Not about anyone feeling, but your future life. Okay? And only thing that we need to care about is the fire in our mind. If we manage to extinguish fire in our mind, of course, deep down inside, we might feel curious about what other people will receive. You know, the person that hurt us, are they going to be punished, or are they going to have a bad life, going to feel happy or unhappy? We're not going to care about that person. If you can forgive, the person is going to be under the karma, you know. We are under the karma, the law of karma. Everyone is under the law of karma. If you plant a good seed, then the good seed is going to grow into a good tree, a big tree, giving you good fruits to harvest, to eat in the future. But if you plant a bad seed, even though that seed is not going to grow at the moment, it takes time. The seed is going to grow into a negative tree, and you're going to see negative fruits, going to bear the result, negative things in the future. The person who did something bad to us, he or she has already planted the bad seed. It doesn't mean that I'm telling you this so that every time someone did something bad to you, say, serve you right, in the future you're going to suffer. That is not the case as well. It means that you're not forgiving, you know. So all you have to do is your mind, just to extinguish fire in your mind and let everything happen because of the person's karma. This is our cleverest choice, the most cleverest choice. Okay. All right, so we are reaching almost towards the end of the talk. I have another story for you. Okay, and this is a story of a demon. All right, I'm not a very good storytelling guy, but I'm trying my best so that you can see the pictures as well. There is a demon, and this demon invaded a king's castle. Eventually, the demon was sitting on the king's throne. The soldiers was trying to get rid of the demons away. They throw stones to the demons, and they were cursing the demon with, very negative words. And every time the demon heard anything negative, every time the demon got hurt, the body of the demon became bigger, and the body smell, the odor was extremely terrible. The soldiers didn't know what to do, so eventually they were watching the demon sitting on the throne of the king without being able to do anything else at all. Eventually the king came back, and the king learned everything. Maybe at the first glance, the king was a little bit annoyed. It's like someone that you didn't actually know was sleeping on your bed. That might be the same feeling. Someone was sitting on the king's throne. Someone that doesn't deserve the throne at all. So the king made an opposite decision. So instead of cursing the demon, throwing stones, or cutting the demon with sword, with any weapons, the king asked the demon, "Hello, Mr. Demon. How are you today? Thank you for visiting my castle. Do you want me to help you with anything?" Every time the king said something good to the demon, the body of the demon got shrunk. The body became smaller. So the soldiers actually came to that sense. They were enlightened about what to do. They were saying something good about the king as well. Sorry, about the demons as well. Oh, demons, yeah. Maybe you got tired, you want to eat anything, let me feed you with some food. We have very nice food today. And the soldier were massaging the demons. They treat the demon with kindness. Eventually the body of the demon became smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and they became just normal human beings, just like everyone in the castle, just like you and me. So sometimes when we face situations and in our eyes, the visions we see is a picture of demon, we should try our best to treat the demons with kindness. And this can be someone in our house, in our team, in our workplace, someone that maybe got negative energy from someone, from other places, and unknowingly bring the negative energy home, so that they didn't feel aware that they are hurting the person at home without knowing anything at all. If we were the person at home, we should respond with kindness. But if we respond with anger, the demon is going to grow in that person's mind. So there are two demons in the case. The demons that we see and the demons in our heart. Every time we confront with a demon, try to kill the demon in our heart. And you will be able to handle the demon in front of you. There is one saying, my master said that the demon that you see, even though it looks frightening, but it's not very hard to handle. The demon in the mind is the most difficult one to handle. The demon in the mind that you didn't see, that look unharmful, that is the most dangerous one. So that you are not going to become a demon yourself. Okay? Alright, so the best revenge is with kindness. If you can forgive, of course you are not going to create more enemies. But if you cannot forgive, you have one more enemy. And in a life you have to choose whether you're going to live with more enemies or more friends. There is one saying that even you have 100,000 friends, it's not enough. But if you have one enemy, that's more than enough for you to handle your whole life. So having 100,000 friends, that's a lot. This is still not enough. Why? Because it's like you keep adding more friends on Facebook, but even though each day you have 10 more friends, you're not going to become much happier, right? So, but if you have one enemy, if you know that there is one in your contact list that always click dislike on your post, every post you make, the person clicks dislike, this is your natural enemy. One enemy is enough to make you feel unhappy in your life. So the best is just to forgive and tell yourself that you are not making one more enemy. You may have a thought at the moment, I know, you may have a thought that, well, but I'm going to live in another city, I'm going to live in another country, so I'm not going to see that person anyway, so yeah, I'm going to get angry, I don't want to forgive. But the world is getting smaller. The sky is so wide, but two planes crash each other. The ocean is so large, two ships crash each other. Leaving each other today doesn't mean that you're not going to come back and face each other one day in the future. And if you have one more enemy, and you know that your enemy is on the north, you don't want to go to the north. If you know that there is one more enemy of yours who are on the west, you don't want to go to the west. You know that there is one more enemy of yours who are at the theater, you want to change your theater. If you have more enemies, you don't want to go anywhere at all, because you know that if you go there, you're not going to feel happy, right? So forgiveness is the best gift. that you have for yourself. That's going to make your world happier. And this is for no one but yourself, right? And I like to, and maybe we can continue with the topic. Are you listening properly? Because author said that he cannot hear, so I hope you could hear my voice properly, right? I hope. All right, so we have come to an end, and this is the final slide that I'd like to share with you from the Lord Buddha. He said that any kind of winning that can turn into losing is not a true victory. What does it mean? We're not going to talk about sports, because if you watch sport, you have to accept that sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. This is very normal. So any win can turn into losing the whole time, and that's the natural of sport. But this case is how your mind wants to be a winner. And seeking revenge is how we actually want to win over situation. And that winning can always turn into losing at any time. Because when you take revenge, even though you might have won, but you create one enemy. Maybe it's not just the person, the children of the person or grandchildren, they become your enemies. And one day they're going to beat you, you're going to lose. And the word is like this. The Buddha said that there's nothing new. We won, we lose, we won, we lose the whole time. And we've been in this cycle. And this cycle is going to keep us locked in the world. Suppose that you take a revenge on someone, and the person also feel bad about it. The person wants to seek you the revenge. Maybe we could talk about lifetimes. In the future lifetimes, when you meet each other, you have a feeling like, hey, I don't like that person. That feeling you've been carrying with you from the previous lifetimes. So if you meet a person and maybe after a few talks, after a few days, you started to get, you don't get along at all, and you feel you want to stay away, and maybe you got very irritated every time the person talks. That is the anger, the pain, the hatred, the grudge that you've been keeping with you. And you're going to be in that cycle. Again, you bomb the person feel hurt. The person bombs you, you feel hurt. You bomb the person feels hurt. The person bombs you, you feel hurt. This is an endless cycle that is not going to end unless someone forgives. Once someone forgives, you are cut from the cycle. You are free. You are liberated. Don't you think this is something beautiful? Something that we can free yourself just by understanding, accepting, and let it go from the mind. Again, forgiveness is not for the weak. It doesn't mean that you are weak, but your mind must be very strong. Everything I've been saying so far, like Domingo questions. Someone who deliberately try to hurt you, but you can forgive. Your mind is extremely strong. And that is a beautiful mind. That's the mind that can love anyone unconditionally. If you want to know how to achieve the mind, meditation will help you achieve such mind. Because when you meditate, your mind is occupied by peace energy, with positive feeling. And once you have such positive feeling, you don't actually want to throw it away. You don't actually want to blow them away. You want to keep them with you. And that is how your life will change for good. So I hope you are interested in living a happier life with inner peace, with meditation practice. And if you have any questions, okay, you can ask. I give you 1 minute to ask the questions. Or if you have any suggestions about the topics that we should cover in the future, you can also suggest as well. Okay. All right. So we're not going to have live next week because I'm traveling to Ivory Coast. So if you are on the Ivory Coast or the West Africa, maybe we can meet each other. Okay, and I'm going to travel back next week, the week after that, and we have the live again. Okay, so any questions? Any questions? Any questions? So, no questions, I guess. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. All right, so I think in our life, if we can have more friends, if we can turn enemies into friends, not very easy at all, but it depends on the choices you make. The choice, each time you make a decision or a choice, you must be mindful. The decision or the choice must be made with a clear mind, with good intention, with purity, with happiness. And the decisions is going to influence your life, so you have to make a clever one. But once you make a very good decision with a clear mind, with the mind that understands consequences, with the mind that understands the nature of the world, and with the mind that is full of compassion, the decision will come from unconditional love and happiness. It's going to be a wise one. It's going to be the one that will not leave you any negative consequences and only leaves you with positive consequences. So I'm sure that the decisions that you make to listen to this live is a good one, right? So if you feel that this live is useful, you can also share with your friends. You can click like, and you can also help us promote the channel. And I'm happy to see you again next time. So for today, thank you and goodbye.